Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We're only going to do like 5 minutes on maybe 10. So this will be
What are
good.
we doing?
We're doing a YouTube. This is our YouTube where we do some supplemental conversation. So,
Okay.
Betsy,
Yes.
supplemental conversation for our fans on YouTube for this conversation. When you and I were talking about what movies to pick for this year of going on 30, we were doing that at the Golden Poppers last year.
Yes.
You guys, so many movies. So
This
many
is, and
movies.
I will say, I think every year we have this conversation, it is difficult.
1995 in particular, very difficult. I mean,
Very difficult.
there are movies that are on the cutting room floor that
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe we are not talking about this movie. But
Well,
we
and
can only
yeah,
do
yeah.
11.
We
Yeah.
can. And I like, and I'm always over here very, I think it's the former journalist in me. I'm like, what trends are popping off? Like, what do we want to talk about in terms of what's happening in movies at that time? Wanting to make sure that we're getting a diverse set of viewpoints and creative minds in the room. So I've always got my eye on that as well.
Exactly. So, we're going to do some supplemental videos releasing periodically during the year for our YouTube fans. And we're going to dive into a different genre each time and pick up some of those movies that we left on the cutting room floor. Not go into an exhaustive like breakdown of,
Yeah.
best scene, best actor, any of that stuff, but just kind of get a general sense of what was happening in 1995 and with this genre of movies. And so, Betsy, what we're going to be kicking off with is the world of romance, 1995
So much
romance
romance.
movies. So, just to give you a
Hmm.
bit of a primer for this conversation, we're talking about things like The American President came out in
Yeah.
1995. Bridges of Madison County was
Oh.
1995. Waiting to Exhale was 1995. And
Hmm.
While You Were Sleeping, Sandra Bullock,
Yes. Sandra
1995. Betsy,
Bullock.
what do you get? What's the general vibe of romance stories in 95 here?
I mean, we were still in the hot heyday of rom-coms. This is your Sleepless in Seattle time. We're still building on, When Harry Met Sally, Rob Reiner. Even Billy Crystal has a rom-com this year with
Hmm.
Deborah Winger called Forget Paris, which I
That's
have to
right.
say I have forgotten about that movie. But the kind of the girl power support, the kind of black girl magic of like Waiting to Exhale. It was really hard to not pick that film this year
Yeah, I
for
see a
me.
couple of things happening. I think with the romance, I think you're right. I think that we're seeing the extension of the, you know, Nora Ephron, Nancy Myers, like that whole move is like going forward here.
Hmm.
But I think that we're starting to see next gen versions of it. So
Mm,
like what Meg Ryan may have started, like Sandra Bullock is starting to pick up the ball and running in
hmm.
her direction with it, right? I will say though too, we're talking about 95 and I feel like when it comes to something like The American President, maybe even Bridges of Madison County when I think about it, like the taboo nature of it, there is a bit of like Clinton sauce kind of mixed into this, where you're
Mm,
like, there's something up with that guy that may not be so great,
hmm.
but let's just keep going. And like it feels like a little bit of that is kind of trickling in here too.
Yeah, and I mean, and Julia Roberts is still in the game. Like, they're definitely, we definitely,
Oh yeah.
she's something to talk about this year. So there's no one really wants to pass the torches yet, but there is a certain, it seems like there is a time where you might age out of a rom-com, even though, with our boomer audience, we try to continue that. But I do think that when you talk about next gen, right, this is also we've got the incredibly true adventures of two girls in love
Hmm.
as a lesbian love story that comes out in here, Nicole Parker in that, as a different one. And then I had totally forgotten that the Brothers McMullen
Oh
is this
yeah.
year
Remember?
too. So it is this kind of indie, kind of sensibility. being brought into that, as well as Kicking and Screaming, which is a movie that I love
Noah Baumbach.
from with yeah, with Stillman. And so like that sort of thing. It's just it's the rom-com but with
With a
this
little bit,
different sensibility.
yeah, with a little bit of indie flair because we're still in
Yes.
like independent cinema like heyday and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thought on the romance of 95. So for years and years and years leading up to this, there was very sort of gender assigned like
Hmm.
fandom to these movies. We would even use the phrase chick flick to describe a lot of
Yes.
this stuff, right? It was like
Hmm.
these are movies that are coded for women, and we're expecting the female audience to drive the numbers for these movies.
Hmm.
I think that we still kind of have something like that. Like, for instance, The Housemaid, as we're recording this, big hit
Hmm.
right now, especially amongst female audiences and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but I also think that maybe we're transitioning a little bit for these things being all audiences. I'm looking at you while you were sleeping, right? I feel
Yes.
like that's a all audiences movie in a way that sometimes these movies weren't necessarily looking to hit a bunch of different demographics. It was just kind of looking to hit one.
Well, and that makes me think about what was the movie that Kumail Nanjiani did with his now wife,
Oh yeah, the
Emily,
big
The Big Sick.
Big Sick. Yeah.
That there's this echo of While You Were Sleeping that's kind of also in that, but then you have it from a male perspective than as opposed to a female perspective. I do think that that's where we grow next. I mean, because it isn't all, because people have asked, is the rom-com genre dead?
Hmm.
Like is it all Lifetime movies and
Or
Hallmark
is
Channel
it
stuff?
or is it solely in the purview of Netflix? Which,
Right.
yeah, that's
True. Because what we don't have here is a genre that becomes really popular is the disease love movie.
right.
We don't have some of those that we get into, particularly as we go into the aughts. That is we coming in strong like that, but and of course we're not talking about two movies here in particular because we're going to be talking about them on the regular broadcast, which is Clueless and Before Sunrise. But yeah, so it's an interesting hint of love. The genre evolves in 95, I think.
It's fascinating to look at. Like I said, certainly Waiting to Exhale was a movie that could have easily
Hmm.
been on our list. American President could have easily been on our list.
Yeah.
So we wanted
Even
to
though even though you don't have to go by DuPont Circle at all to go to the White House. I'm just as someone who lives in DC, I just feel I need to say it.
Oh, just wait until we get to Heat. We're going to be talking about the geography of cities a lot when we get.
Oh man.
We wanted to show some love to the romance movies of
I'll do
1995.
it the way the kids do it. Oh,
Oh, look at that.
there we go.
My wife didn't understand that this was a heart. She was like, "What is this? Is this the violin thing? What are you doing?"
Right. Are you gonna
Like,
snap at
it's
me?
it's a heart. She's like, "How is it a heart? It doesn't look anything like."
Don't ask questions.
There we go. Betsy, you can join my rom-com anytime. It's great.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.